I think the biggest headline of the week was Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. After Drew had said Justin Herbert is better than Mahomes, Mahomes took that personally. 406 yards, 5 touchdowns. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 41-14. And are the Chiefs back? That's really the question. Do you believe in this team? They can now make a run? Are they still the same team that everybody thinks they were early in the season? What's your opinion on? I'll start with you, Joe.
I think it's important to remember that, especially if you look back at like the Patriots dynasty run, right? We're already putting the Chiefs in this tier that they're going to go down as one of the best teams ever, a dynasty and all of this. Like, we have to be somewhat realistic here, right? Like, the Chiefs aren't going to have 10 straight years, be perfect. They're going to have bad months. They're going to have bad weeks. I remember a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we were talking about, can the Chiefs defense turn it around? And I was one of them like, yeah, I think with Steve Spagnuolo and a veteran defense, eventually they're going to figure it out. Now, I don't know if they're 100% back yet, because you look at their last few games, they played home against the Giants, home against the Packers with Jordan Love, and this Raiders win was probably their most impressive win since week 1 against the Browns, coming back and having a vintage Chiefs game where they're down at halftime and you see Mahomes do Mahomes things. But they dominated the Raiders. They doubled them in first downs. They were perfect on fourth down, held the Raiders 1-9 on third down. And a few things really stood out to me. One was their offensive line. I think that their interior offensive line with Creed Humphrey, Tooney, and Trey Smith, their 6th-round pick, is probably the best in the league. Now, they have to do some work, especially at right tackle. Even though Max Crosby didn't put up crazy numbers, the right tackle was getting beat all game. I want to say he gave up 6, maybe 9 pressures, 6 pressures. So even though Andrew Wiley, he didn't give up any sacks, Max Crosby was getting to the quarterback, getting to Mahomes. Orlando Brown had a really solid game as well. But not only the offensive line, their running game. Darrell Williams, who I'll be honest, I thought me and Drew talked about this off the show probably last week or over the weekend. We're like, he's okay. He's a below average running back, but we all think Clyde is better. But Darrell Williams had a really nice game, especially in the passing game, having over 100 yards, that crazy catch for the touchdown. He really was able to break tackles in the screen game too. And more or less, the Chiefs did what we asked. On offense, they took those screens. They had a lot of checkdowns, drag routes to Tyreek Hill. But they did take a couple, down the field shots. Kelsey had a few big plays as well. Looked like vintage Kelsey there. It's going to be interesting to see, though, once Clyde comes back, how they're going to, really treat this offense, because he wasn't really a bell cow, I would say, but he was getting the majority of the work. But overall, I think the Chiefs, they have the Cowboys this week. This is going to be the big test. But right now, I'm leaning towards the Chiefs are going to be back. They're going to be fine. Just because you have 1 or 2 bad months, they're right back in first place.
Yeah, this is definitely a step in the right direction, a great step in the right direction. Obviously, you have Mahomes throwing for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's exactly what every single Chiefs fan wanted to see from him, especially after these 3 mediocre weeks. Now, what I was very, very emphatic on was them getting the running back involved. I thought Clyde would play last week. He ended up being a scratch. Darrell Williams came in. And he did exactly what I was hoping that the Chiefs would do. Start feeding the running back. Start letting the running back open up the field for you. Because if you are the Chiefs and you're taking these checks out consistently, it allows the defense, or it takes away the defense's ability to cheat on that deep ball. And now that if they're going to consistently take these checkdowns, it's not going to allow the defense to cheat. And now they're going to be able to pick and choose when they take it over the top. Now, there was one specifically where Mahomes just missed Tyreek on a bomb, just overthrew him a tad. But regardless of that, Kelsey was clicking. Tyreek and him were clicking. Tyreek's route running, that first touchdown that he had, he absolutely burnt him. Tyreek Hill, obviously he gets a majority of his credit for being the fastest player in the NFL, but regardless of that, his route running has been very good this season. And I just think that this needs to continue. They need to continue to feed the running back, and I want to see it once Clyde gets back. You didn't waste a first-round pick on Clyde for him to be a split, be in a split backfield, especially with Darrell Williams. That being said, 9 receptions out of Darrell Williams, over 100 yards receiving.
Clyde's never done that.
Not once in his career. Obviously, we've seen the rushing abilities from Clyde, but we saw it in college. Where was he most effective? Out of the passing game as well. If obviously him and Mahomes being arguably the best quarterback in the league, can get on that same page and start being effective like that, obviously we'll start to see Tyreek Hill get open more downfield. We'll start to see Travis Kelsey get open more than he already is. But I think that obviously this is a step in the right direction. Are they back? I'm not ready to say they're back, obviously, because the Raiders had a few opportunities that they squandered. That over the top to Deshaun Jackson should have been a big play. That was a fumble. Better play from the defender, of course. That being said, got to hold on to the ball. And Derek Carr being sloppy. That ball over the middle of the field, I get it that he got his arm swatted, but that was ugly. And then it happened again. So you never like to see that. But regardless of that, Raiders squandered some opportunities, and this game got ugly very, very fast. And that's what happens when the Chiefs are clicking on all cylinders. That offense can just throw up 20 points like that. But definitely a step in the right direction. I want to see next week what they do against Dallas. If they continue to see the running back, let him be one of the main focal points in the offense, I think they could be back.
So now he's arguably the best quarterback.
He is still arguably the best quarterback. Even when we said, stop it, because even when we were talking, we said, who are the three? Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers.
That's what I said.
I said.
That's not what you said.
In starting a team.
You said you might, no, when we're talking about who's the best quarterback.
Right now.
You were like, come on, dude.
Right now, obviously, Mahomes is, you don't get paid $500 million and you're a scrub. Like, I know the game of football better than that. That being said,
Herbert
had been outperforming Mahomes. And that's simple. And if you're saying that's wrong,
I still don't think it's insane to say you prefer Herbert over Mahomes. Herbert could do everything Mahomes can do, let's be honest.
He can.
I don't know about that.
He hasn't won the chip yet, but
I don't know about that.
He's a little bit smarter.
He's also bigger.
All right.
I think he's a better athlete.
All right.
It's all giddy over
I want to start off with the Raiders first.
Fair enough.
I just think they're being affected right now by everything that's gone on.
Fair.
And you can see it in this losing skid. I usually wouldn't take so much I wouldn't be so happy about them losing. But the fact that I'm happy about them losing is because I recently went on my YouTube channel to check the comments, and I had made this video about the AFC West and my predictions. I had the Chiefs 1, Chargers 2, Broncos 3, and Raiders 4. And somebody commented this like 2 weeks ago that, oh, look at what you did now. Oh, you were so wrong. You better make a video about this and explain how wrong you were. And now 2 weeks later, it's the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos. And I still predict the Raiders will probably finish last just because I think so many things have affected them. You know, you have Rich Bisaccia in there as a head coach, and I'm not very high on him. John Gruden, you know, he got canned. Henry Ruggs, he got arrested. And there was just still holes on that roster that needed to be fixed. And Derek Carr, if he doesn't throw for 300 yards, the Raiders lose. It's a statistic. They are winless in games where he does not throw for 300 yards, so he has to carry that team. And last episode, I said the Raiders are going to probably win the AFC West. A little bit too optimistic there. Probably going to be wrong about that. But the Chiefs just look like a different team right now. 3-game winning streak. They're 6-4. Like you mentioned, Giants, Packers, Jordan Love, Packers, not even Aaron Rodgers, Packers, and the Giants.
Aaron Rodgers plays, I think it's a completely different game.
And the Giants, we know they're not that good. But I kind of feel like if they would have faced them earlier in the season, they would have put up points on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have finally started to click defensively, and I think holding the Raiders to 14 points is an accomplishment. People forget this, but in 2019, the year that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, they had a bottom 20 defense at this point of the year. It wasn't until at this point in the second half of the season, they finished off as a second-ranked defense and 7th in the totality of the season. But in the second half of the season, they were the second-ranked defense. And Chris Jones has come back to form. These last 4 games, he has 18 pressures, tied for 6th, 21.6% pass rush win rate, which is 6th in the NFL right now. And Jaron Reed had a heck of a game against the Raiders as well. And we, Chiefs fans have been hoping for him to kind of come into his own. You're right. That interior of the offensive line is amazing. Andrew Wiley's not that good. Lucas Niang is hurt right now, so when he comes back, that'll get better. I just think, even though I think the Chiefs are somewhat back. I'm not fully invested because I think there's still holes on the roster. They don't have a second receiver, and I mean a wide receiver, not Kelsey and Hill.
Yeah.
They don't have a second wide receiver. Josh Gordon has not been good. McCole Hardman, he's been a disappointment. And the running game, Darrell Williams, he had a fantastic performance, but do I really expect him to do that? I really don't. And I think it was an anomaly, to be honest. And even though Mahomes had this perfect game statistically, 5 touchdowns, 406 yards, there were like 2-3 picks I counted that were dropped.
Yep.
And that's what I told you guys. Like, him having these picks this year weren't that surprising to me because over the last couple of seasons, his interceptions have been dropped. Whether it's, he's snapping the ball early and it's an offsides and he just takes, a whatever play, he just risks it. But his interceptions get dropped. I think he's still a bit too careless with the ball. His mechanics aren't all the way there. And this Sunday, a big test against the Cowboys. I think if they beat the Cowboys, I'm all in. They're officially back. If they can beat Dallas, they're officially back. But right now, I'm kind of like halfway there. I do think they'll finish number 1 in the AFC West. I think they'll finish 1 in the division. They'll win their division, but I don't know if they're contenders because I look at what the Patriots are doing, and I'm kind of bought in on them.